about it's about 6:16, September 24. We're reconvening back from our closed session. Item E, reconvene to open session. Item F, announcement of actions taken in closed session. Not yet, right? Not yet. Nothing to report at this point. Item G, comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or any other item of district business that is not on the agenda. And number one, we have Oscar Palero under other.
Okay. Hi, my name is Oscar Palero. I am a junior at Calexico High School and also the Calexico FFA treasurer. I take care of all the money in the Calexico FFA chapter. Today I am here due to the recent issue with the animal pens. Our superintendent gave the directive of not letting any animals onto the animal facilities due to sanitation issues. We as students do our best to keep the animals' living space as clean as possible. This directive that the superintendent gave to stop the animals from going into the pens was given to us at late notice. Calexico city laws don't allow us to keep livestock in our backyards. Ms. Sievertson took the responsibility of caring for our animals and currently has them in her backyard in Imperial. As an advisor, she is supposed to guide us in our projects and not care for the animals herself. She has done a great job taking care of our animals because it's not easy taking care of livestock. I ask that the next time an action similar to this is taken, we are notified so we can prepare and have the best available option for our animals. And I would like to thank Ms. Williams for the great support she is showing towards our program. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar, for your comments. Number two on the list is Carolina Valenzuela under other public comments. Do you have enough for the public?
There's few extras if they want to see it.
Yes. So we need to put them over there.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Carolina Valenzuela. I'm a parent and a concerned citizen. And the reason I'm here today is because of the communication between the district and parents. And what I gave you just right now is a summary of the LCAP for this year. And so as you know, our unduplicated count is 95% of the student population. I like to point out that Calexico is going to receive $12.4 million in supplemental and concentration grants. And I do like to get the support of the board to notify parents in a timely manner or give a report of how these LCAP monies are being spent. I did see in the agenda that there's a lot of LCAP expenditures. However, us as parents and as community, we would like to see a report. I don't know, something that gives us meaningful information. I saw the LCAP and a lot of the meetings started late in March or February, and we need to know about what's going on early on. And so I just want to give you this information so that you see which things are to increase and improve services. Calexico should be spending around $2 million. I kind of went through the LCAP and I could only identify 1.7. But if the district can provide us with a summary of where exactly the supplemental and concentration grants are being spent. Also, I saw that there's going to be about $100,000 on parent involvement, like a leadership institute of some sort. So we just want to make sure that we are aware of when these opportunities come up. I don't want us to be surprised, you know, like my son, I just found out from him of things that happen at the school. We would like to have something in writing so that we are aware or somewhere where we can look for the resources or the information. That's all I ask of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valenzuela. Next on the list is Soledad Cañez under public comments.
Afternoon. My name is Soledad Cañez, and I work in food service department. You don't mind? I want to speak Spanish. I believe everybody understands Spanish. May I speak Spanish?
Not everybody, but if there's an objection, I need to know if there's an objection for this person speaking Spanish. Está bien.
Primero, no vengo a juzgar a nadie ni a imponer cosas que no están a mi alcance, sino simplemente para ver los problemas que tenemos en food service. En food service se han tomado algunas malas decisiones que son, a veces afectan demasiado al personal, que son la distribución de horas extras, que son la contratación de más personal con 2 horas de trabajo, y nosotros no necesitamos más personal, necesitamos más horas de trabajo para poder sacar el trabajo que sale con equipo, sin equipo. Se impusieron computadoras en todas las escuelas y no se ha proporcionado el equipo necesario para manejarlas, y eso hace que se hagan las líneas grandes, que los directores se molesten y terminen siendo regañadas, podremos decir, las señoras que sirven los desayunos o los lunches. Yo quisiera que nos pusiéramos en el lugar de que estamos en un barco y que si todos remamos al mismo tiempo en ese barco, todos vamos a estar en la misma dirección. También uno de los problemas es que hay personas que tienen muchos años de experiencia y se ha contratado personal con pocos años de experiencia en el distrito, y eso me parece, a mi punto de ver, injusto. Yo sé que hay reglas en el distrito escolar, pero a veces las reglas podemos hacer un poquito de movimientos para que funcionen para todos. Eso es todo. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias. And last, but not least on the list, is Engracia González.
Buenas tardes a todos. ¿Me permiten también hablar en español?
Sí, no hay problema.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos por estar aquí. Nada más es también un pequeño comentario acerca de la distribución de las posiciones de más horas, que se nos hace algo injusto que nosotras que tenemos tantos años, no que se nos dé por los años que tenemos, sino por la experiencia que hemos adquirido a través de todos esos años, de no faltar, de no llegar tarde, de estar a tiempo, de a la hora que nos llamen ir corriendo para estar allí, el de a veces quedarnos sin break por tratar de sacar el trabajo porque la prioridad son los niños y no se nos tome en cuenta. Entonces, ¿qué tenemos que hacer para que se nos tome en cuenta, se nos considere para una posición de más horas? Que venga, que esté otra persona con menos tiempo. ¿Y por qué? Porque no tenemos un inglés fluido, porque no caemos bien. ¿Qué tenemos que hacer? Porque ya no sabemos más qué hacer. Porque si damos nuestro 100% y somos buenas trabajadoras, ¿qué tenemos que hacer para que nos consideren dignas de una posición de más horas? Eso es todo. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias. So that was item G. Comments from the public. Do we have any more comments? No more comments. That was item G. Item H, consent agenda. All items appearing will be acted upon one motion without discussion. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda on item H?
The motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real to approve item H.
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. If there's no more questions, all in favor of approving item H, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item I, informational items. Item I1, Superintendent's Report.
Good evening, trustees. I am going to provide the superintendent's report on behalf of Ms. Embreeze, who had to leave for conference. Currently, the district's enrollment as of September 21st was at 9,246, which is 17 less than last year's CBEDS CalPADS number of students enrolled and attending school at this district. This is also 48 students, this is a 48 student enrollment increase since our last board meeting. We expect the enrollment numbers to increase over the next few weeks, and it is anticipated that we will meet our last year's CalPADS number, which is established by enrollment on the first Tuesday of October. The school most impacted by the enrollment continues to be Calexico High School, given we have currently enrolled 3,031 students in grades 9 through 12. This year's senior class at Calexico High School is currently 689 students strong, with the 11th grade at 755, 10th grade at 780, and 9th grade at 807. Also in the in the elementary schools, Blanche Charles, 508, Cesar Chavez, 965, Dual, 583, Jefferson, 731, Kennedy Gardens, 586, Maines, 531, and Rockwood, 667. Open house. Open house was held at the elementary schools on September 16th of 2015. Cesar Chavez hosted open house both on the 16th and the 17th. The junior high schools held their open house night on September 22nd. Calexico High School 9th grade will host on September 29th, and the main campus and Aurora will host on September 30th. Our Centennial football game and festivities took place on Friday, September 11th, and it was very well attended. Although our boys did not win the game, it was exciting to see all the happy faces of family and friends reuniting for the evening of fun. Thank you to the Centennial Committee for making this event memorable. The committee put a lot of hard work into planning and coordinating such a wonderful event. Traffic concerns at Calexico High School. Ms. Randall and I, well, Ms. Embrice and I, attended a meeting today, as a matter of fact, with the interim city manager, Nick Finley, to review ideas on how to alleviate traffic congestion on Encinas Avenue and on moving the lunch vendors at lunchtime once the construction of the pool begins and is in full force. Mr. Finley will be coordinating the efforts with the assistance of the Calexico Police Department and Fire Department, and we will hopefully have a follow-up meeting soon to provide the board and the public with the additional updated information. At this time, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Thank you. That was item I1, superintendent's report. I2, association comments. Mr. Taylor, is ACT's time again?
If I can make just it'll be quick.
Go ahead.
This is especially for the teachers who are still in the audience. If you were not here for the ACT speech at the beginning of this board meeting, it is on Facebook. I do know that our video service was not operating at the time that the speech was given. So, but it is recorded and on Facebook on the ACT page. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. CSEA?
Good evening, Sonia Radona, CSEA President. I'm here to support our food service department. Right now, we have 42 food service assistant ones. We have 27 staff members that are 3 hours. We have 13 staff members that are 2 hours. We have one member that's 6 hours and one member 8 hours. And the food service assistant cashiers, which they don't handle cash anymore, but they're still there, we have 6 employees that are 2 hours, 11 employees that are 3.5, and 3 employees that are 4.5. That is a total of 62 food service staff members. Right now, we having 2 hours employees, and when the 2-hour shift comes in, they start working, and then the second shift comes in. Sometimes they get upset because they didn't do the work right, or they seem that, oh, these people are not, they look all this work they left me to do. We're having more problems with the 2 hours employees. We have 2 employees that have been working there for 19 years, and they've been going to interviews after interviews for 6-hour position, and they say no. They get somebody that's brand new to the district with 1 year. 1 year working with the district, and they get to go way up to 6 hours. Rotation of hours, hopefully we can start going this month in October. Starting October 1st, CSEA requested every single staff member gets to rotate the hours. If a member's going to be out for 3 months, The maximum you can do is 1 week. Let's give a fair share to everybody that works there. We have very hardworking people that get up early in the morning and go and work there. And I'm asking if please to stop the unemployment report on hiring food service until we take care of a whole bunch of issues that we're taking care of right now. And we're working with the district and Mr. Venegas. Not only that, the equipment came in, and guess what? The outlets can't work. You can't put those outlets in. We don't have a plan B, but we do have a plan, just hiring 2-hour people to come and work. I think, I've been here for 25 years. These last 2 years, the problems have grown. I think it's for the 2 hours. I'm not against those people, but I think if we have more hours to those people and less people, the product would come out more and we have less problems. So I urge you to please stop the unemployment report on the food service until we get evaluated in each food service department. Thank you.
Thank you. That was item I2, association comments. Item I3, board reports. These are information reports by board members. No action is taken. Ms. Real?
Good afternoon to everybody who came to our meeting today. I just want to say thank you to everybody who had the time this past week for the back to school night to give me some input as far as what's going on in every school. I did get some input about food service as well, so I am aware of some situations that are happening. We did discuss about that earlier. It will be spoken about later on in the agenda. And I also want to thank those that went to the community workshop for safe routes. I was part of that, and I assisted some of the administration that was there. I think it's a great workshop to, like they said, they're going to be working on the traffic zones in Encinas and some of the other schools to make it more safe for children, trying to add crosswalks if necessary, because there's some places where they have to go all the way around in order to be able to cross and go to school, because it's the only way to cross. For example, 98 to go to main school, Willie Moreno and Blanc Charles, because we have Cloak being the main street, and we have a lot of parents for both schools. Other than that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who had the opportunity to come up to me and give me some input as far as what's going on in your site. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Real. Mr. Ortega?
No comments at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Ortega. Just like Ms. Real, I thank everybody for their hard work on these first 3 weeks of school. I attended a couple of open house or back to school nights, I should say, on the same day. Kind of difficult when we have the same back to school nights on the same day when we have 5 or 6 elementaries doing it at the same time, but I was able to attend 2 of them. Like I said last time, I did go to most of the schools and visited the school sites and talked to a lot of teachers, talked to a lot admins, I talked to the plumbers. I talked to a lot of people regarding what's going on in the schools, not only to administration, but I talked to the people that are actually on the ground doing the job. I'm very proud to say that I'm the board president. I'm very proud to say that the people that work here in this district work very hard to get the job done, to get to accomplish what we are set up to do. And I want to thank you personally for doing that job. Good news, we have the water chillers installed in all schools. Each school has at least 4 of those water coolers, as we said that we would do. And I personally checked those schools that they told me that they will be installed, and it's right, they are installed. So thank you everybody that participating in this process, because our kids deserve to have what they need, especially and during the hours of recess and lunch when the high temperatures reach, or that might reach over 100 degrees. And that's it. Thank you. That's all for my comments. That was item I3, board reports. Item J, discussion only. Written request to rename J1, written request to rename Kennedy Gardens Elementary School. The reason that I put this item on the agenda for discussion only is because at the request of one of citizens in Calexico, that person was asking to rename Kennedy Gardens Elementary School to John F. Kennedy School. There's a process that we need to follow, and it starts right here with this board, with a discussion to whether we should do something about it or move forward. And also, I like to point out that under Board Policy 7310, naming of facilities, among other requirements. My computer is working way faster than my mind is. There we go. Under board policy, like I said, Board Policy 7310, under facilities, it specifically states, among other requirements, that the renaming of existing schools or major facilities shall occur only under extraordinary circumstances and after a lengthy study. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that to the board. Personally, when I went to open house at Kennedy Gardens, and without introducing myself as a board president, I asked 41 people or 41 persons that were in attendance what they thought about renaming Kennedy Gardens to John F. Kennedy, and not a single one of those people expressed their wish to rename the school after John F. Kennedy. Never. I don't want to discredit the name of John F. Kennedy. Okay, one of our U.S. presidents, and very respected president. That is not the point. The point is that we have bylaws, and we have a duty here to follow the bylaws. And in this case, like I said, we need to follow the process. And one of the points in this process is that it has to be an extraordinary circumstance in order to rename a school or major facility. So at this point, I will open the conversation with our fellow board members. Ms. Real?
I'm just going to reiterate what he said. I think we all feel that school's been there for years, and for us to rename it at this point of time, like he said, he spoke to several people at Kennedy Gardens, and it seems that nobody's in agreement with the name change. And like he also said, it's a process. So if Mr. Gonzalez wishes to proceed, then we have to go by that process. But however, I think we're all in agreement with keeping it Kennedy Gardens.
Thank you, Ms. Real. Mr. Ortega?
Well, I know from the last meeting that Mr. Javier Gonzalez, who's a resident of Kennedy Gardens, is the driving force behind this, and I have the utmost respect for Mr. Gonzalez. He's very active in the community, specifically in Kennedy Gardens. But, as you mentioned, there is criteria used to rename facilities, or in this case, the elementary school. One of them being extraordinary circumstances, which I don't understand which one that is at this point. I guess Mr. Gonzalez would have to submit that, and then, of course, a lengthy study. So, that being said, unless we have that in front of us, I don't see how we could move forward with this. But, again, like I said, he's the one that's been passionate about this, so he might have that input that's needed to move forward on this. It's unfortunate he's not here, but that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Ortega. And again, just like Mr. Ortega and Ms. Real, I don't feel that at this point it is we have such an extraordinary circumstance in order to warrant the changing of the name. Again, I wish, like Mr. Ortega said, I wish Mr. Gonzalez was here to maybe he has some more information that we need to hear, and as a board we will be open to hear that information at the time that he brings it to us, if he chooses to bring that information to us. So, but again, if there's no further information, I think we should just follow what our bylaws state, and in this case, one of those points being that it needs to be under extreme circumstances, which at this point, if there's no more proof of such a circumstance, there's nothing that we need to that we can go on with regarding the name of the change of the Kennedy Gardens Elementary School to John F. Kennedy Elementary School. Okay, so that's item J, written request to rename Kennedy Gardens Elementary School. Item K, actions, consideration and action approval of the following items. K1, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and the Jesse Douglas Heartline Inspection Services for Calexico High School pool facility. Ms. Randall?
Yes, this item is for inspection services for the district's pool. Years ago, the district bid out services for inspection on all projects that require the Division of State Architect approval. Mr. Hartline was selected to be the inspector of our district due to the fact that he is a local vendor here in the Imperial Valley, and in fact, he's the only DSA-approved inspector here in the Imperial Valley, and that his rates were cheaper than the other vendors that replied to the RFP. In regards to the pool project and why this item is on the agenda, the project is required to have a full-time DSA inspector, and Mr. Hartline is the approved inspector of record by DSA for this project.
May I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
The cost related to this service is already budgeted into the total cost of
Into
the
the
pool,
total
correct?
pool construction costs. That is correct.
And just so we're clear, as we keep approving these phases or these packages for the pool, they will come. All these packages will come with a cost, but these costs, these costs are already, like he says, allocated into the budget of this pool, which is at this point, of this project, I should say. So you will see every time we approve a package, you will see a cost. However, the money has already been allocated. Okay.
That is correct.
Maya, when you say the total cost, you're talking about the 1.6, right, for the swimming pool?
I was speaking more in reference to the overall budget, the $7 million.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. If there's no more questions, we have in front of us item K1. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K2, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and the UCSD, University of California at San Diego Early Outreach Program for Academic Services for Calexico High School, Enrique Camarena Junior High School, and Willie Moreno High School.
This item K2, this agreement, it's an annual agreement, and it's for outreach services provided to our secondary students by UCSD.
Thank you. And these programs are usually held after school, but they do provide a lot of services for our students. Field trips to universities. They provide tutoring services after school. So I believe it's a very good partnership that we have with all these universities. Questions? Concerns? We have item K2 in front of us. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Real. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself voting in favor. Item K3, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and ClassWorks for software subscription for the 2015 to 2018 school years.
Yes, this agreement is for our ClassWorks program to be available for our schools as an intervention program. It would provide the additional licenses for all of our schools. And if you have any further questions, I'm going to defer those to Mr. Padilla.
Do you guys have any questions?
No, I don't.
I don't have any
Okay.
at this time.
Item K3, is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon voting in favor. Item K4, renewal of agreement between Calexico Unified School District and ASCO for linen services.
Yes, this is an agreement for our laundering for staff uniforms. This contract is We can have this contract for up to 5 years, but we approve it on an annual basis, and I can confirm that the rates are the same. They have not changed from last year. And I did speak to Mr. Nielsen, and the staff is very satisfied with the service that they have provided up until this point.
Thank you, Ms. Randall. Go ahead.
I think the other question we had was not only how many years, but also after how many years do we have to rebid for, like, if we wanted a different company?
So we could do that as early as even now, but we can keep this contract for up to 5 years. So
Up to
when we
5.
get to our 5th year, or when the term of the contract is going to expire, then we will go out to bid.
And this
again.
year that we're approving is our 4th year?
I believe this is this is year 2.
Year 2.
This is
Okay.
year 2.
Thank you, Ms. Randall. Mr. Ortega, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Thank you. We have item K2 in front of us. Is there a motion?
K4.
K4.
K4. I'm
Make
sorry,
a motion
K4.
to approve.
I'm sorry, K4. Is that Ms. Real?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0 for item K4. Motion passes 3-0. Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon, voting in favor. Item K5, Memorandum of Understanding between the Calexico Unified School District and Imperial County Office of Education for ACES and Assets Easy Reports.
This item is the software. This is an annual agreement. It's the software that we use to keep attendance for our ACES and Assets program. And this is a very important MOU because we have to take attendance, and that's how we keep our funding for the ACES and Assets program. That's one of the measures to keep us in compliance with attendance. So,
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions?
No, I make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real. Is there a
Second.
second? There's a second by Mr. Ortega. There are no further questions. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon, for item K5. K6, Memorandum of Understanding between Imperial County Office of Education and Calexico Unified School District on productive group work and gate strategies.
this item, this is an agreement to secure services for our Staff Development Day in October, and this would be a district-wide staff development that is inclusive of our certificated employees for gate strategies.
Thank you, Ms. Randall. Guys have any
And
questions?
if you have any questions, I can
I do
refer
not.
those.
Is there,
No.
is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real. Is there a
Second.
second? The second by Mr. Ortega. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K7, authorization to piggyback from the Waterford Unified School District bid number 01-12 for the purchase of 2 student school buses.
This item is on the agenda and has been placed by myself and Mr. Nielsen. The Transportation Department is requesting that the board approve the district to go out to bid for 2 new school buses. The district hasn't purchased a school bus in many years, and we feel it necessary to bring this to the board to get approval to do that. We have our teams, our students that travel many different directions for sports, for band, and even just our regular transportation back and forth from school, home to school transportation. And since we have some one-time money, this is a one-time expense, this would be a great use of these funds to provide new upgraded equipment to transport our students to and fro.
Currently, how many buses do we have for the district?
14, I believe approximately 14 buses.
Out of those 14, how many have air conditioning?
5.
Okay. And this motion, this item is to buy, not to
To
go.
purchase, right,
Yes.
this one
So
is
I
to-
make a motion to approve to purchase new buses for the school district.
Thank you. There's a motion by Ms. Real. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon, for item K7. Item K8, procure bids to retrofit and install transfer air conditioning systems in 3 Calexico Unified School District student buses.
This item it kind of addresses, your prior question, but we are requesting at this time to have air conditioner and have the buses retrofitted to have air installed in 3 buses at this time. And if we are able to go back and take a look at putting air conditioner in all the buses, but at this time, we're looking at 3.
So,
Go ahead.
so with this, in addition to the 5, we'd have 3 other buses plus the 2 that we're purchasing with air conditioning?
With air conditioner,
Wow.
that is correct.
Good.
Yes.
Long overdue.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Good.
And again, this is from these are one-time expenses that are going to come out of the one-time money.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second to
There's a
approve.
second by Ms. Villarreal to approve item K8. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon, voting in favor. Item K9, adoption of course textbooks for forensic psychology.
Okay, the textbook being used by the AP psychology teacher is outdated, and the publisher is no longer making copies. We cannot even purchase more copies because they are no longer in print. So, therefore, another textbook was researched, and this is the recommendation for the text. So this is why this item is on the agenda.
Now, my question on this one, I know we had talked about finding out the total number of books that we really needed, because I know we're going to order double so they could keep one in class, take one home. But we wanted to do something where we could consolidate it into a group so we'd have less in class and they could take one home. So what would be the total number instead of 140? They were going to get back to us on that.
I'm going to defer to or to Gabby is going to come on up, or Miss Kalunga, either one of the two.
Testing. Gabby Williams, principal at Calexico High School. The direction we received was to order the exact number of textbooks for the students enrolled in the class. I believe we ordered a few more, and all of the orders that we have processed this school year, we've added anywhere from 5 to 10 additional textbooks for those textbooks that get lost throughout the year, or any new walk-ins for the class, because there's been so many new courses at Calexico High School this year, and textbook needs. For now, the district has given us the direction to order what we need, and then we're starting to assess the needs of class sets. But the priority was to meet the need of issuing and giving the student a textbook.
Individually. So the
Correct.
140 is the total students. Well, you said a few extras, so it's the total number of students that currently need a textbook.
And more. We have 3 sections at Calexico High School for forensics psychology, and that's approximately 105, 110 students. And so they'll have enough. They'll have more than enough.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have item K9 in front of us.
Make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real.
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Mr. Real, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon voting in favor. Item K10, adoption of new job description, elementary counselor.
Okay, I'm going to defer this one to Mr. Gonzalez, but it's for the board to approve the job description for the elementary school counselor. And if you had any questions, he can answer any
I
questions.
make a motion to approve.
Okay.
We need these counselors and these sites.
And I will second that motion, being that myself, I'm an elementary school counselor. so-
Sorry, I made you walk.
Sorry.
I mean, elementaries need a counselor, so I'm
So-
going to approve this.
So there's a motion by Ms. Real. I second it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K11, installation of windscreens with air vents to sports facilities at Calexico High School.
The district is requesting the approval of the purchase and installation of the windscreens with air vents for the Calexico High School sports facilities, i.e. the tennis courts, baseball field, and softball fields. This is especially needed for our tennis courts.
I have a question to Mr. Jeremy. I know there was a request by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon regarding the color, to order them garnet. I don't know if the company makes them in that color or not.
They do, but there's a minimum square footage requirement in order to get the special dyeing, because they have to dye the material. It doesn't come in garnet. You have to meet a 22,000 square feet requirement in order to purchase the
Garnet.
dyed, before they'll dye the the material for you.
What's our total right now that we actually need for the high school?
Oh, the total square footage, I don't have that information.
I believe it's approximately half of that.
Oh, so we're not even
Yes.
close.
And we did, well, we as in Janet, did contact other vendors, and it is extremely expensive to have them in the garnet or
So is the
burgundy
current color going to be the one on the picture, black?
Yes, it will be black.
There was two options, black or green. I think black would be the better option.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know it only says it for Calexico High School. What about Emerson Field? Because I know we just remodeled it. Is it gonna, are we potentially gonna do that field as well, or
I would love to.
Why
Mike?
didn't we?
And that
do
could be, again, that's a one-time expense that could be used for.
Could we possibly add that
You
field as
could add-
well?
if you'd like that to be your
Well,
motion, that could
If
be
we
your
add it,
motion.
do we get close to the 22,000 square foot?
I'll
I
go as
don't-
much as you want.
No. He's saying, will that make it
Oh, I-
22?
I-
Would-
I
would that increase
doubt
it?
it,
No.
but.
It won't get close enough.
Okay, well, I would like to make a motion to add the Emerson Field as well into this project.
Okay,
I
perfect.
believe that if we spent this much money to remodel it, we should do the full package. So if we're doing it for the high school, we should also do it for Emerson Field.
And I will second that motion, and with the addition that if we are close to the
Square footage.
minimum, that we go ahead and do that.
with garnet.
Okay.
Okay.
And because I think garnet will be nice.
Okay.
So
Absolutely.
there's a motion. There's a second by
Thank you.
myself. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor of Mr. Al, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K12, second reading of an adoption of revised board policy 6163.4, student use of technology, the addition of exhibit 6163.4, acceptable use agreement and release of the district liability, and the removal of administrative regulation 6163.4.
As mentioned, this is the second reading, and at this time, the district is requesting approval of this board, of this policy.
I make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Al. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor of Mr. Al, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. That was item K12. Okay. Item K13, certificated employment report. Is there a motion to approve? Yes.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve, and actually, yes. Yes, yes. So there's a motion to approve with the migrant with the additions of migrant coordinator Alejandra Limon, principal at Cesar Chavez, Jaime Santos, and assistant principal at Cesar Chavez, Berta Noriega. Is that your motion?
There's a motion to approve for Alejandra Limon to be the Migrant Educational Program Coordinator. Motion to approve Jaime Santos as principal for Cesar Chavez. And a motion to approve for assistant principal Berta Noriega for Cesar Chavez.
That's the motion. Is there a second? I second that motion. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. All those voting in favor are Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K14, classified employment report. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item L, reconvene to earlier closed session, but there's no need to reconvene to earlier closed session. Item M, reconvene to open session. We are already back. And announcements of actions taken in closed session. There was nothing to. There were no actions in closed session. Item O, to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Good night. This is the end of our meeting. It is now 7:01.